for the regulations could help stem the loss.
Al oor die 120 mm reëngaan.
Could report for March 2026.
Our knowledge. It wouldn't make sense for us to deal with.
Welkom by vandag se Plaas TV nuus. Die minister van Landbou het verlede Vrydag die sogenaamde konsep artikel 10 skema vir die vrywillige inenting van diere teen bek-en-klouseer in die Staatskoerant gepubliseer. Dit volg na toenemende druk uit verskeie oorde vir die afkondiging van die skema, wat onder meer privaat veeartse sal toelaat om aan die proses deel te neem. Artikel 10 van die Wet op Dieregesondheid verleen aan die minister van Landbou die wetlike gesag om 'n nasionale dieregesondheidsskema te ontwikkel met bindende reëls oor hoe dit bestuur moet word. Die konsepskema is op 10 April gepubliseer vir kommentaar wat vandag sluit. Die bek-en-klouseer koördinerende raad wat georganiseerde landbouorganisasies verteenwoordig, het reeds breedvoerige kommentaar saamgestel, onder meer oor die hersiening van sekere definisies en onduidelike stellings. Wildbedryf Suid-Afrika het van sy kant af kommer uitgespreek oor die feit dat wild nie in die skema genoem word nie. Die organisasie sê dit is juis belangrik dat siektevrye buffels, wat uiters vatbaar vir die siekte is, beskerm moet word. Landbouorganisasie SAI het in sy kommentaar op sosiale media gesê, die skema in sy konsepvorm ondersteun nie die gewone kommersiële veeprodusent se belange nie, maar eerder die van groter ondernemings soos voerkrale en melkerye. Still with foot and mouth disease, the latest research findings from the University of Pretoria's Faculty of Veterinary Science offer conclusive scientific evidence that a change in the current foot and mouth controlled slaughter regulations for cattle could help alleviate the economic destruction caused by the disease without compromising efforts to curb its spread. According to Professor Armanda Bastos, a swift response from the authorities responsible for the regulations could help stem the losses of an industry bleeding jobs and revenue. Professor Bastos is the director of the Hans Hoheisen Research Center at the university's Department of Veterinary Tropical Diseases. During a recent lecture at the university's Future Africa campus, she explained the results of the so-called fifth quarter research project, which found that in recovered animals, the FMD virus was absent from the bone marrow. The finding is significant given the current controlled slaughter regulations which mandate deboning. She said this is an expensive and difficult process to carry out and also means a major cost and logistical burden for the industry. Professor Bastos' full lecture can be viewed on YouTube. Intussen het die nasionale rooi vleisprodusente-organisasie gesê hy neem kennis van produsente se kommer oor die gewysigde vereistes van die sogenaamde VPN59 vir uitvoere na die Verenigde Arabiese Emirate. Dit volg nadat die Departement van Landbou op 27 Maart aangedui dat die vereistes aangepas gaan word. VPN59 is 'n veterinêre prosedurale kennisgewing wat die vereistes vir die uitvoer van Suid-Afrikaanse vee en veeprodukte na die Emirate bevat. Die RPO sê die bestaande sertifikaat laat toe dat Suid-Afrika diere wat teen bek-en-klou ingeënt is of wat reeds van die siekte herstel het, daarheen mag uitvoer. Dit is ook in lyn met die Wêreld Dieregesondheidsorganisasie se riglyne. Die nuwe vereistes is egter teenstrydig hiermee. Die RPO, rooi vleisbedryfsdienste en ander rolspelers is tans met die departement in gesprek om te verseker dat uitvoere en marktoegang nie skibreek lei nie. Die Suid-Afrikaanse Landboumasjinerie Assosiasie sê in sy jongste verklaring dat 618 trekkers in Maart vanjaar verkoop is en dat dit 8% minder is as in Maart verlede jaar toe 671 eenhede verkoop is. Verkope vir die jaar tot dusver is egter 2% hoër as laas jaar. 29 stroopers is in Maart verkoop en is 8 minder as verlede jaar Maart, terwyl verkope vir die jaar tot dusver sowat 6% meer is as laas jaar. Volgens die verklaring is daar eksterne faktore wat boere daarvan weerhou om kapitaaltoerusting aan te koop, waaronder die waarde van die rand en heersende brandstofpryse. Boere sal binnekort begin oes en sal dan in 'n beter posisie wees om die omstandighede te herëvalueer. Voorlopige beramings toon dat trekkerverkope vir 2026 soortgelyk of marginaal minder gaan wees as verkope in 2025. The Namibian Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform has approved an application by Savannah Beef Processors to export beef to the United Kingdom, the European Union and European Free Trade Association countries. This was confirmed by the Savannah Board of Directors chairperson Mickey Schneider. He said the company received the export certificate and will start slaughtering the first cattle for export on 20 April. He confirmed that this will also be the first slaughter cattle traded on the Namibian Securities Exchange under the newly implemented slaughter right trading system. Savannah Beef has been operating at low capacity while awaiting export certification and plans to slaughter about 50,000 head of cattle per year. According to the certificate of approval, Savannah Beef will export matured, deboned, chilled, or frozen beef cuts to Great Britain, the European Union, and EFTA countries such as Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland. The certificate is subject to annual renewal and will expire on 7 April next year. And still in Namibia, the country's Livestock and Livestock Products Board has responded to questions about permits issued for live cattle exports to Mauritius. This comes after the board classified the shipment of 2,700 cattle as a private commercial transaction between producers in Namibia and buyers in Mauritius. Mauritius began seeking alternative sources of high-quality, disease-free livestock amid the ongoing foot-and-mouth disease outbreak in South Africa. The board said the regulation does not prohibit the exportation of live animals, provided it complies with the conditions set out in relevant legislation. It also acknowledged concerns about throughput at local abattoirs, noting that the shipment aligns with Namibia's growth at home strategy. The board emphasized that the export of live cattle to Mauritius is not intended to disadvantage the domestic meat industry. South African seafood firm Sea Harvest Group has reported a major increase in revenue and operating profit in 2025. In its latest financial report, the firm reported that its revenues reached record highs last year, totaling 8.7 billion rand compared to 7.2 billion rand in 2024. According to CEO Felix Rateb, the demand for seafood continues to grow and they have seen a 42% increase in their catch rates. The positive growth mainly stemmed from the company's wild catch operations. Its aquaculture arm, however, reported an operating loss of 59 million rand, which forced the company to pause operations at its Kleinseer and Whale Rock abalone farms. Rateb attributed this to persistent economic pressures, a slowdown in the Chinese economy, and continued poaching of wild abalone in South African waters. He says poaching has led to dwindling wild populations and unfair competition due to illegal exports. And that was today's news, but stay tuned.
Ja, dit reën oor groot dele van die land. Ons is baie bly daaroor. Selfs oor die droër dele in die Oos-Kaap en natuurlik in die Noord-Kaap, die afgelope omtrent 2 weke, 3 weke, het 'n plek soos Appington al oor die 120 mm reën gehad, wat omtrent 70% van die jaar se totaal is. So alhoewel die reën altyd welkom is, skep dit maar sy probleme, veral as ons kyk na die Noord-Kaapse druiweboere. Die oes is afgehandel, maar 'n geweldige siektedruk wat plaasvind. So die boere probeer om bietjie dit onder beheer te kry, want hulle is bang vir oordrag na volgende jaar toe. Ook positief, soos ons gesê het, in die Oos-Kaap, dele wat nog maar redelik min reën gekry het, hier rondom Kraakvars in die gedeeltes ook baie goeie neerslag gehad. En natuurlik die ander ding wat 'n probleem begin skep, en ons boere kla altyd, maar dit is maar met rede, is die uithaal van grondbone en die stroop van sojas. Grondbone moet nou uitgehaal word en met hierdie reën, dit kan nogal redelik probleme skep, want dit kan nie langer in die grond bly nie, anders vrot dit in die grond en dit moet buitekant op die land lê om gedroog te word. So daar is redelik probleme wat dit betref, maar ek dink vir al ons veeboere, glimlag breed, veidingstoestande was lanklaas so mooi soos vanjaar. Daar is maar siektes en peste, maar as ons kyk na hoe die weidingstoestande lyk baie goed. Kyk ons 'n bietjie na hierdie volgende tyd. Dit lyk asof hierdie laaste helfte van April, dat die reënval 'n bietjie meer van die weste afskuif, nie meer soveel oor die Noord-Kaap reën nie, maar dat dit weer terugkeer hier na, kom ons sê, die somergraangebiede, maar ook weier, die noordelike dele van die Oos-Kaap, die oostelike dele van die Noord-Kaap, hele Noordwes, Vrystaat, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, en ook Limpopo, selfs suidelike dele van KwaZulu-Natal. So dit lyk of hierdie tweede deel van April daar redelik reën kan voorkom oor hierdie gebiede. Nou, aanvanklik, ek moet 'n bietjie teruggaan, so 'n tree of twee terug staan, het ons gesê Maart, April, Mei maand gaan droog wees, en dit was gebaseer dat die La Nina verskynsel gaan terugtrek, hier alreeds omtrent Desember, Januarie, en dat ons nou meer El Nino neigend is. Maar die La Nina het nog aangehou, dit is nou eers neutraal. En met 'n La Nina verskynsel, kanse vir reën altyd baie goed hier Maart, maar veral April, Mei maand. So praat van die La Nina, ons het gesê ons is nou besig om oor te gaan meer neutrale toestande toe, en dan hiervan omtrent Mei, Junie se kant, gaan ons oorgaan in 'n El Nino. Dit lyk na 'n redelike sterk El Nino. Ek sien daar's voorspellings dat so 20% kans dat dit 'n super El Nino kan wees. Dit beteken maar net dat seeoppervlaktemperature in die Stille Oseaan vir 'n lang tyd meer as 2 grade Celsius warmer as normaal is. Nou, 'n El Nino gee gewoonlik die eerste deel van die seisoen nie te sleg nie, so ons kan dalk na die winter tot hier Oktober nog 'n klompie reën kry, maar dan hier van die tweede deel van die seisoen af, lyk dit ondergemiddeld. En dit hang 'n super El Nino en 'n sterk El Nino en 'n matige El Nino, sy effek is maar omtrent dieselfde. Dit lyk net asof dit droër gaan wees en dit gaan meer afhang wanneer die versterking gaan plaasvind. So ons moet maar die huidige goeie reënvaltoestande geniet. Ons moet die grondwater bewaar en dan kan ons die tande van die El Nino van volgende jaar dalk 'n bietjie uithaal.
Jodie, Hattingh, Agriculture Business Analyst for Potato South Africa. Here follows the market report for the period of March 2026. At the end of March, the average weekly potato prices across all classes and sizes stood at R51.56 per 10 kg bag, reflecting a 25% increase week on week. During the first 13 weeks of 2026, fresh produce market sales exceeded the 5-year average by 982,000 10 kg bags. The average prices for the first 13 weeks was R5.95 per 10 kg bag, lower than the 5-year average, with the current week 13's price 88 cents higher than the 5-year average. In March, average daily stock levels across national fresh produce markets reached 811,000 10 kg bags, representing an increase of 105,000 bags in comparison to March 2025 and 81,000 bags more compared to February 2026. Total sales for March amounted to 8.8 million 10 kg bags, which is 537,000 10 kg bags more than in February. When comparing March 2026 to March 2025, an 11% increase in sales was observed. Class distribution for March saw a marginal change when compared to February, with Class 1 accounting for 70.4% of all sales, up by 0.4% from February 70%. Class 2 sales decreased by 0.7%, while Class 3 increased by 0.8% and Class 4 sales decreased by 0.4%. In terms of size distribution, large, medium, and medium potatoes dominated the market, comprising 84.4% of sales,
while small, medium, small, and baby potatoes made up the remaining 15.6%. Large potato sales decreased slightly by 1.9%, and large medium potato sales increased by 1.9% compared to February 2026. Regionally, the Eastern Free State region led the sales, contributing 32% of total 10 kg bags sold, followed by the Northwest and Western Free State with 14% and 12% respectively, and Southwestern Free State at 10%. During the period, Eastern Free State delivered 2.7 million 10 kg bags, affirming its position as market leader, followed by Western Free State with 1.2 million 10 kg bags and Northwest with 1.1 million 10 kg bags. And that concludes the market report for March 2026. For further informative information, please visit our website as well as our Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn profiles. Also, download the Potato SA app on Play Store and App Store to monitor daily deliveries by different regions as well as daily sales and prices on the fresh produce markets.
A couple of months ago, we spoke to Tom Westphal of SAMIC about their role in the South African red meat industry. He joins us in studio again today to talk about one of their strategies called Africa Expansion. Tom, welcome and thank you for your time.
Jodie, thank you. It's lovely to be here, as usual.
Thank you. So let's talk about Africa Expansion. What is the strategy and why is it important for South Africa's red meat industry?
Okay. So let's break that down into two answers. First of all, why is it important for South Africa? First of all, we'll talk about classification. Classification as a whole, which is one of our main mandates, is a measurement system which we have in the meat industry and have had for the last 30 years, which gives you a measure of what the farmers can farm against, a measure that they can farm against for consumers, allows them to improve and farm for the consumer, and also tells the abattoir what they're buying. So it is a measurement tool for meat in the South African meat industry. Now, why Africa Expansion is that we would love to share what we have done in the last 30 years with African countries, with our continent. And it is important for us to communicate with our neighbors. And as we are all within one continent, we need to make sure that we have a standard. And that helps facilitate trade, helps communication between countries, and it helps our local industry to be able to trade with neighboring parties if we have a common language. And I think that's really what's important. And that's why the Africa Expansion is really to share what we have done, but also to learn what other countries are doing. They might do something differently, maybe a little bit better than we do. And I think that's really what it's all about.
In the strategy document that you sent me, it mentions a necessity is a significant national herd. Why is this necessary?
Well, it's almost important just to understand you want to trade with countries that have similar products. So if we're talking meat, if you have a very small national herd, it really doesn't make sense for a agricultural country like South Africa that has a significant national herd, of which we're slaughtering 25% every year, to deal with countries that don't have that. So it's comparing products. So we like to work with countries that have, one, a very big vested interest in agriculture, and secondly, those that have cattle like we do, so that we can actually share our knowledge. It wouldn't make sense for us to deal with countries that don't have cattle. So really that's what we're looking at countries with a significant national herd. And believe it or not, there are some really, really big countries out there. So on the continent.
I can imagine. There's also a training component related to this strategy. What does it comprise of and how do you present this training?
So what we've done is SAMIC has put together a training module which explains the classification or the measurement system that we are currently doing in South Africa in a classroom environment, really a theory part of it. But that's only the first part of it. We actually spend quite a lot of time in abattoirs. This particular training is 1 quarter in classroom, so let's say 1 week in the classroom. And that is followed by at least 1 month or 3 to 4 weeks where we do one-on-one training or one-on-8 training rather with the delegates in the abattoirs teaching them what we are doing, teaching them physically on carcasses how to measure these things, what aspects of the carcass to measure. And that's really what the training is about. And that's the beginning of it. Thereafter, we then go to visit those abattoirs annually or biannually, and we check up on them from a training perspective to keep the students refreshed on the actual classification measurement systems. So that's what it's all about. It has been done in the past. SAMIC has been involved in the training of delegates in South African meat industry. That is not really our mandate anymore, but we use that knowledge to impart that technical skill onto people in our neighboring countries. So yeah, it's literally the beginning is a month training followed by annual visits thereafter.
Just briefly, what are the aspects that you teach the students to measure and look at on a carcass?
Well, the classification system is really based on 5 elements. It's the age of the animal, which affects the sensory quality of the meat, the amount of fat, the conformation, which is an element or an indication of yield. So the higher the conformation, the more muscle there is, more muscle to bone ratio. Then we talk about the amount of damages, and that is also has an influence on the quality of the meat, both from a bruising point of view, but also if an animal has been hurt, the adrenaline is higher and the meat is affected. And then the sex, whether it's a male or female, and that also has an effect on the taste in certain aspects. In certain parts of the different animals have different flavors because of that. So those are the 5 basic elements that we focus on the training, and those are also the 5 elements of classification. It's the basic principles of meat class, characterization, and that's the beginning of what we train on. So it's basically a replica of what we do in the abattoirs.
Okay. Which countries are already a part of this strategy and which will soon join?
That's the exciting part of our strategy is we have for many, many years had an association with Namibia. Namibia has been on the same system of classification as South Africa for many years, and SAMIC has been supporting them for a long time, and we continue that support. The relationship is an open relationship. There's a very good understanding between the South African meat industry and the Namibian Meat Board. We have recently worked with Eswatini. We've done the training there, and they are adopting the system as well. And what we have done is we've looked at East Africa, mainly because there's a logical transport route and access route. And believe it or not, the one that we visited, the country that we visited recently is Tanzania. They have a significant GDP, they have a significant national herd, and they are very excited to put a system of measurement into their abattoirs. And they've reached out to us, and of course we would love to share with what we have. We've learned a lot as well about the Tanzanian national herd, about the national agriculture. And I think that is the beginning of that collaboration between South Africa and East Africa, I guess.
How does the Africa expansion fit into SAMIC's bigger 2026-2030 strategy?
Okay, so that's a good question, and it's really is part of a long-term view. Africa expansion is one of the projects that we are busy with at SAMIC. It is one of the new focus areas because of obviously reasons. For trades facilitation, and SAMIC we've recently aligned with the Red Meat Industry Strategy 2030, and we've made sure that we are aligned with that, so that we do things in alignment with the industry. One of the big points of the Red Meat Industry Strategy or the meat industry strategy is 20% growth in South Africa, and that growth is related to trading with other countries. There's a lot of talk about export into Middle East, Europe, etc. But why not our neighbors? And I think that's really where our first alignment is the inclusive growth, which I think is really, really important, and it's exciting for us. What I've realized is that South Africa is not an island. We're part of a bigger island, which is Africa. And why not talk cross borders? Because it is close on our doorstep. So it is aligning with the meat industry strategy. Industry working together, countries working together, which is really important. It's part of the growth strategy. And what we've seen is that there's a big similarity between our rural farmers and East African farmers, purely because they have smaller business centers, they don't have big corporates, and they are very much, we have a very big similarity between what we are experiencing in our own backyard to what the East African countries are. So there's a huge alignment between SAMIC strategy and the meat industry strategy in terms of inclusive growth. And I think that's really our biggest part. There are many others. Education is one of them, making sure that consumers and farmers talk to one another. And that's also really important. And while we are communicating, let's communicate with our neighbors as well. So that's another alignment. There are others, but those are the main ones.
Okay. And then just to end off, what's next for SAMIC?
So SAMIC will never stop innovating. It's an exciting industry. The meat industry is really, really exciting, mainly because we are all really meat eaters. We are big carnivores. We love the agriculture. It's part of our DNA. The next thing for SAMIC is making the measurement system, the classification, more accessible to the industry. Educating consumers, I think, is a really big, important step forward. Our consumers are the ones that keep us employed. Those are the ones that we serve. Although SAMIC serves the industry, but the industry serves the consumer. So consumer education is really important. They need to know what's going on behind the scenes, and I think that's really fundamental for us. Consumer education. What we have also done is we're working very much with industry academics, universities, to bring the science through to meat processing. SAMIC is very proud that we are working on we've built a sensory kitchen in our offices, and that's really to understand from a consumer point of view what the meat actually tastes like. What are the sensory aspects of meat? What are the important things for consumers? And we're starting to work very closely with academia, although we have always worked together with Pretoria University, Stellenbosch University, Free State, etc., and other universities, but we're bringing them now into our own environment, and that's really making those relationships closer so that we can bring science more into the industry. So there's a lot of surprises up our sleeve, but those are the ones that we are working on in the immediate future. Next year, 2027, we'll bring another basket of surprises. So we will never stop innovating. I think that's really what we're trying to do, is to bring innovation back into meat, continue with the innovation that's already happening in meat, and finding new ways to do things better.
And if anyone wants more information, can they visit your website?
Absolutely, samic.co.za. And our offices are also open. We're in Fairy Glen in Pretoria, so please come and visit us, you yourselves included. So come and see our sensory kitchen that we've built. I think really it's important to open up our knowledge, not only from a SAMIC perspective, but the industry, to consumers, to academia, to visitors that want to know more. But yes, it's all on our website. It's a new website. We've recreated the old one, and it's a lot more interactive. So we invite you to come and visit us.
Thank you so much. There you have it from SAMIC. Go visit their website for more information, and keep your eyes on Plaas TV for any further exciting developments.
Absolutely.